Order, order. This is another episode of Reporters Without Orders, where we discuss what made news, what did not, and something that absolutely should not have. Today, we are going to discuss two investigative stories with my guests. The first story sheds light on the mess the Delhi School of Journalism finds itself in, while the second story exposes the nexus between the mining mafia, government officials, and local representatives. I have with me Ankita. Ankita has written a deep dive on Delhi School of Journalism. Pratyush has written a story on the mining.
Hello, Steve.
Hi. Pratyush, I think if I could start from you, you have written the story about a road which was built through the forest, and all the rules and regulations were violated. How come this road was built in violation of all the rules, and why was it important for mining industry, not mining industry, but mining mafia to build that road?
So basically, there are two roads, and both the roads were built in a village called Basimeu. So it's a village bordering Haryana and Rajasthan in Nuh district. And earlier there was a Bharatpur district in Rajasthan. Presently it is now Dig, I think. A new district has been carved out. So this Dig district has many, the mining spots. The licensed mining spots. Okay, but of course, even though there are some licensed mining is going on, but most of them are like a lot of illegal mining is also going on in the same areas. For example, if a spot has 3 licenses, but mining is happening more than 20 or 25, that's what we found in the ground. Lot of mining, even not us, even Rajasthan government has recently also cracked down on illegal mining, activities in the Dig district, and particularly in the 2 spots which we have highlighted in the story. One is Chapra and another is Nangal. These are 2 zones where mining is heavy mining is happening.
Both zones are in Rajasthan.
Yeah, both zones are in Rajasthan. It's in the Dig district, and Rajasthan government has recently fined many contractors in both these zones for illegal mining activities. Okay. Some related to overloading, some related to illegal mining, and all this stuff. So basically, that is the context. If you see the Basimeu as a village, it's located in the middle on the side of Haryana, and it shares borders on its both sides with Rajasthan on the Aravallis. Basically, this is the Aravalli range. It's the foothills of Aravallis, you can say, or
so
Aravallis.
These 2 mining zones are in the Aravalli region.
Aravalli region. So mining is happening in the Aravallis. So of course, there mining is not allowed in the Aravallis as per one notification in 1992. So, but what happened? In that notification, the names of Aravallis in Gurgaon and many other districts have been covered, but the Bharatpur, the erstwhile Bharatpur district, was not named in the notification. So eventually, that led to lot of issuing of lot of mining licenses in the Bharatpur district, in the Aravallis of Bharatpur, that the Aravalli which falls.
So the whole Aravalli region was not covered in that notification. There were a few parts of. So some districts were covered in it.
And the Aravallis in that region is basically, the Aravallis is divided by 2 states. Some part of Aravalli falls under the Rajasthan, and some parts falls under the Haryana. So that's a kind of a tricky situation which enables the mafias and the illegal miners to exploit this location and the situation. So both these roads are outcome of that effort to outmaneuver the administration and to exploit the loopholes for their own financial gains, and eventually, while doing so, they cannot do no mafia or no illegal anybody, no businessman can do anything illegally without the help of local politicians and of course the government officials. You cannot build 2 roads without knowing the police or the local administration. So but these 2 roads shows that how this the mining mafias, government officials and local representative collided to eventually make road for the help to transport the illegally mined material from Rajasthan through Haryana. And it eventually has 2 benefits. One is the royalty, because the mining sites are in the Rajasthan. So if they can pass it through Haryana, because this is just the border area, you go 1 kilometer, you will reach Haryana. So you can escape the royalty of the Rajasthan state government. And of course, it cuts short the distance that these trucks had to cover if they have to go through Rajasthan. So these are the two primary reasons why these roads were built. And of course, these are not like, of course, like, these both of these roads were illegal, found to be illegal by the centrally empowered committee. And
I'll come back to the findings of Central Empowered
Sure.
Committee. What are the findings? Did they pull up any government official, or what were the recommendations to stop such illegality? I'll come to Ankita. Ankita, what an amazing story you have written on Delhi School of Journalism. Detailed piece. My first question is that Delhi School of, before I ask you the question, Delhi School of Journalism comes under Delhi University. It was established in 2017. It was compared with, it was touted as Columbia School of Journalism of India, right?
Yes.
That was the vision of people who were associated with the Delhi School of Journalism at the beginning, right?
Right.
Now after reading the story, I love the intro of the story, which I would read that intro for our viewers also. Joote se pitungi, I'll beat you up with my shoe, keep quiet. This isn't a dialogue from a television show or movie or a snapshot of a fight on a street. It's what Bharti Gaur, the honorary director of Delhi School of Journalism, said to students in a viral clip last month when they approached her with concerns about their college infrastructure and high fees. Now, what is the reason that the situation has come to a point where the director is saying "jute se pitungi"?
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, and it's also very unbecoming of a director to have said these words to fellow students of a premier journalism college. And like you mentioned, this was a college which started with a vision of becoming of the likes of a Columbia School of Journalism. And so I'll just give a little bit of the context of how it started. So it started in 2017, and this was not a department within the Delhi School of Journalism. This started as a school of journalism. So the vision was that eventually it will become a department of journalism, and it will combine all the other journalism courses which exist in DU colleges like Kamala Nehru, like IP College, and then it would move away from the self-financing model, which is what models it right now. So the UGC doesn't give money to the college right now. It has to finance all of its funds through fees that it accumulates from students, which is why it has one of the highest fees within the university of Delhi University colleges.
How much do they charge?
So DSJ offers two programs. The first program is the 5-year integrated bachelor's course in journalism, and the fees for that is approximately 80,000 for a year. And then there's the master's course, which is MA in journalism, and it's for close to 70,000 a year. And this is extremely concerning because for a college which is within the Delhi University and it's a public university, people go to DU because it's affordable. But this college, because it is self-financing, it has to, like, its fees is this high, and it models whatever infrastructure it has from the fees that it culls from its students.
But people also go to DU. It's not only fee structure; it's also for quality of education.
Absolutely.
But
and
next question is the quality of education. Like, are they training students in the right way? Do they become good journalists? Much of it depends on your training, right? Like through a 5-year, what you've learned. Have you learned only one thought, or only you've seen only one side of the coin, or you want to see the other side of the coin also, but there is some resistance from the authorities. So if you could throw some light on this.
Right, absolutely. Like you mentioned, it is also the prestige that people go to DU, especially if it's a North Campus college. Like I also went to DU, and one of the reasons for me to choose a college within DU was whether it was in the North Campus or the South Campus, because that's what people associate it with. So I went to North Campus. So this Delhi School of Journalism is also located within North Campus, but it is also quite isolated from the campus area. So it doesn't even have its own building. It is inside the university's stadium complex. It's just a few rooms inside that stadium complex, and it shares the building. It shares with CIC, which is Cluster Innovation Center. So they're like close to some 16 to 15 classrooms, and most of the classrooms are also held in the basement. So infrastructurally, it's quite dismal, the kind of situation that students are finding themselves in. And like you mentioned, people who choose a 5-year integrated, say, journalism program, they come with the vision that, one, it is a dedicated journalism department in DU in North Campus, and it's a 5-year course where I will learn all the things related to journalism, will be exposed to a kind of training that will help me become a journalist. But what has been happening is that infrastructure is a problem. Students are not exposed to the kind of training that they imagine they would be. So say they have a lab, which is a studio, they have a radio lab, but they don't have any other computer labs. Or like if they have a class on animation or design, they don't have softwares, or even like the classroom boards are not like smart classrooms or like have digital screens. So teachers would be teaching them on the board. They would draw like a diagram of how editing will happen. So students are befuddled, like how do we learn anything about editing through this? And the second thing is field visits or going to news organizations or being exposed to how other news organizations work is also key to learning how to be a journalist, which is something students say they haven't been able to do. They don't go on field visits, which is something that they either do themselves, for which they also have to pay expenses by themselves, which is part of their fee structure, but they are not exposed to it. Besides that, the teachers who are teaching in the college are all guest faculty. So they have 27 teachers within the course, and they're all guest faculties.
Oh, there's no permanent faculty
There is
in
no
DSJ?
There's no permanent faculty.
Wow.
And it is a problem because students say that the teachers who come, so the whole thing about guest faculty is another problem within the whole university, right? That there is ad hoc teachers, there is no permanent faculty. This is in the context of the privatization of education. So what happens is that when a guest lecturer comes, they are paid on a class basis or on an hour basis, right? So they are not that invested in teaching whatever they're teaching, is what students feel. And what a previous administrative member has also said from the college, that, if you don't have a permanent faculty and it's only being led by guest teachers, then they will not be invested in creating, a curriculum or creating the kind of students who will be invested in the course. So students say that they feel like they're being experimented on. Any teacher would come, they will be teaching say photography, but this teacher is trained in, say, a language, like he's a language teacher. Or somebody will be teaching video, but he is trained in photography. So students feel they're not learning anything. So it's so...
Students are guinea pigs in that way.
That's what they say. They say that we feel like we are rats,
Right.
that we are really being experimented on. And the most concerning thing is it's a 5-year integrated program in journalism for the bachelor students. Most of the students, actually 90% of the students that I spoke to, they all say that they will exit after their third years. They will not finish their 5-year course.
So now students have exit options too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is through the NEP.
Right. I mean, to understand what kind of institute, I mean, how do we understand, right? The one way to one barometer is to look at the executive council, like who are the members, or the advisory board, right? Who are the members? So, I mean, could you tell us who? I mean, the top decision-making body is the advisory board, right?
Right.
Which has 11 members.
Right.
So, could you tell us? I mean, who are these 11 members?
The governing body is made up of 11 members, like you mentioned, and more than half of them are people who are affiliated with the BJP or have links with the RSS, which is what came out as a concern while we were all doing the story, that this is a journalism college, and there is only one kind of ideology that is being peddled to them. It starts with the advisory council. You have people from media organizations which are known to favor the government, and more than half of the members are from these media organizations. Then you have events. So basically I audited all the events that were taking place in the college from 2022 to 2025, and more than 50% of the events were about, say, ideas that the right has consistently been talking about. Say, one nation, one election. And the people that that the college was inviting were all these known usual suspects. So there would be Praful Ketkar from the organizer, the editor.
The organizer editor.
Yes.
I think he's a regular at the college.
He's a regular in the college. He's been invited like multiple times. And it's not just him, it's these authors and journalists from who have written books like Modi versus the Khan Market Gang, or other books like Modi 3.0. So stuff which is very pro-government, stuff which is very like, it is only one kind of narrative which is being, like, the ideas that the students are being exposed during these events are of a certain kind, and the bulk of it is from the BJP and the RSS. So that has been a major concern for the students, who say that, like, we don't have any other critical thinking within classrooms. Even when we have like discussions on, say, laws or policies, if somebody says something which is, like, critical of that policy, then the teacher will say stuff like, you shouldn't be negative, you shouldn't be anti-government all the time. So the kind of healthy discussion that you expect in a journalism college is also missing, and it's constantly been like, it's eroding by the time, and that is very like disturbing to just witness.
Yeah, that's concerning. And one of the students has described the college as a saffronized madhouse.
Yeah.
It's the Columbia
nice.
School of Journalism, it is like Saffron School of Journalism.
Yeah.
I was also surprised to see the comment of ABP president of the college of BSJ, where he says, "एक type के लोगों को ही बुलाते हैं ये."
Yeah, like, I spoke to him, and he was really unhappy with how the the college was functioning, and he spoke to me about the infrastructure and all of it. And then he also mentioned that it is true that ideologically it's only the right that is arriving here.
I read some students were recalling the days of Dr. Yogi, that there was some space. Though, of course, she's right leaning, but there was space for dissent. There was space that you could question the government. Now that space has vanished.
Yeah.
So what are the repercussions? What are the consequences for students if they ask questions critical of the government? You've given some instances. If you could tell.
Right. So that is the sense that I've gotten from speaking to students who were students back in Yogi's time and in the later years of other directors. So back when Yogi was in charge, there would be full-fledged protests. Like, if students were unhappy with how things were functioning, they would just go out and protest about it. And it was also a time before COVID. It was also a time when CA and RC protests were happening, and generally the student movement across India was quite active at that time. And DSJ was also part of that ecosystem. So after COVID, after also Yogi left and the other ex-honorary director JP Dubey ji was appointed as the one, things started to tighten. Like, he started to, that's what students say, and that's also what we have found, that he would invite people who were only from the right. So the kind of spaces students previously had obviously shrunk. So now there are very few protests happening, is one of the things that we have observed. And it's also that students have also sort of not, like, they have shied away from mobilizing as much. So the few protests regarding infrastructure that happened in 2018, happened in 2019. After that, there have been very minimal sort of student activity within the college. The only other activity which happened was in April 2025 after Gore ji said, "Jute se peetungi." So that kind of mobilized students. But it was also like just a few handful of students, 30 students out of, say, 500 students. So this was very curious to me. What happened that when in 2019-18 there were almost 80% of students were protesting together to just 30 students happening. And students say that it's because mostly they feel threatened in classrooms, whenever they have any discussion or they put forward any comment which is, say, critical of the government, say, which is anti-admin, they are subtly told by teachers that, you shouldn't talk like this. There would be an inquiry on you. There might be a disciplinary action on you. So they have been hearing these things for years.
Or exam pe dhyan do.
Exams pe dhyan do. Or like even if they come up with something that, like there's an instance in the story, and I will not reveal it so that readers can read it. And
That's typical journalism school with parental control.
yeah. So that is the kind of things that were happening. And it's also, like I said, it's located within the university stadium complex. So it is very isolated from the usual DU colleges. So if you cross, say, arts faculty, you're also crossing Miranda, you're crossing, say, Stephens Hindu, you're crossing all the usual suspects. But DSJ is inside university stadium's campus, which no one sees. So it's very isolated. This is what one of the teachers from DUTA, former DUTA member, has said, that it's very hard to mobilize students within the college because it's just very isolated and not in the picture. And also because the guest faculty situation that is happening in the college, they don't want to speak up at all. So that was one of the challenges in doing the story. None of the faculty members wanted to talk because their employment is precarious. And to further comment on it would be a problem.
I can't imagine the situation that the students find themselves in.
There have been few ex-students who have stopped studying journalism, or they have just given up on journalism. There was this one student who was like, he said he was very passionate about studying journalism. He was actually appearing for the JEE, the engineering exams, and he was going to study in IIT, but he really wanted to be a journalist. So he enrolled in DSJ. 3 years, and it was the worst mistake of his life, he says. And now he's a marketing professional. He's like, I don't want to do anything related or close to journalism because I've seen how it works. It's all the mainstream media. Like, he's just disillusioned that this is what happens. The only media presence out there is mainstream media, and if you have to make it there, you have to compromise. And that is the kind of education also he was exposed to while he was in DSJ. So yeah.
And if this is the lesson they're learning, of course, they will have this viewpoint.
Yeah.
That whole of media is compromised.
Yeah. That's why they should watch more Newslaundry.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say both the stories, for our viewers, both the stories are behind paywall. These two guys have put in tremendous effort, a lot of labor, a lot of time to churn out these investigative pieces. And if you want to read these two stories, please subscribe to Newslaundry and make us stronger so that we can do more such stories, such investigative stories. So Pratyush, I'll come back to you. You mentioned one government report which was very critical of these violations. The report was prepared by Central Empowered Committee, which works, which kind of expert body for Supreme Court on environmental matters.
Right.
So what were the findings of CEC report? If you could tell our...
So CEC report had to come because the road was constructed in last year around October, November, according to the villagers. So they have been, reaching out to officials, local officials. It is Firozpur Jirka, that the subdivision is Firozpur Jirka in district. So they were at meeting revenue officials. They were meeting other, other government officials to, not to build this road, because interestingly the border road was not only going to the forest road, it was also going to some of the agricultural land as well.
Oh, the farmers were also unhappy.
Yeah, so because of it's like big road, 33 feet long, and two dumpers, big dumpers can pass easily. It's such a big road. So of course, I think in one road, both the roads are around 2 kilometers long. In both cases, I think around more than a kilometer or around 1 kilometer of the road was in the agricultural land, and rest is on the Aravallis forest land. So of course it is the villagers, they were losing out their land, and they told us, they alleged that the construction of the road started at the time of before harvest, so they had to lose their crops as well. So these are the two reasons they were very upset about the whole thing. They were complaining to the government officials, but nobody was listening. Even they alleged that the local police, when they complained about the road, they used to pick them up and keep them in the police station for 8-9 hours or 5-6 hours, then allow them to leave with a warning that if you
So tragic that such a thing could happen, that anybody could construct a road through agricultural land.
Yeah, agriculture. It's a big road.
And
we have
farmers,
the pictures and all. You can see two trucks can pass by that road. 2 trucks. And even in one portion of the road, we can see the walls being made to properly demarcate the road and the farmland. Can you just imagine how far they can move? It's not just they have constructed the road, then constructed walls to demarcate it कि यहाँ से आगे मत जाओ, मतलब ये हमारा boundary है. Villagers were भाई साहब पुलिस के पास जाते हैं तो खुद हमें उल्टा फंसाते हैं. मतलब they were panicked कि what they can't do anything. And it's a very in local dynamics is also very different. Even though we cannot name people here, but there's a strong mafia that works in the area. Who basically there's a fear of them. They support, we were told, they do financially support candidates in the election. So these are the local dynamics that are also at play, because of which these mafias get a free will to do anything they want. Police is also silent, villagers are scared. So so that's when they were helpless, then they reached to the NGT, and the case was filed. Then a CEC inspection was ordered. As we know, in most of the cases, Supreme Court and NGT does it. They ordered a CEC report. When CEC visited it, they were also shocked. What, these roads are illegal. So just imagine one village. We are talking about just one village in the border of Haryana, Rajasthan, and you yourself are from Rajasthan, and you know the extent of the illegal mining in the whole Rajasthan Aravallis range.
And just 2 kilometers stretch.
Yeah, it's just 2 kilometers.
And mining is all over Rajasthan.
Yeah, so just imagine how many such roads are there. It's just an eye-opener.
Yeah.
They can do it with the help of police is silent. You can see in this case, the nexus is quite open. There are 2 roads illegal on the farmlands, on the forest lands.
Police would get to know if you put one brick in your house, you want to build a 4th floor. So first brick and police is there. The moment you put first brick, police is there. The whole 2-kilometer road has been built, and police.
2 roads, not only one road. 2 kilometer
roads.
1, 2 kilometer, total 4 kilometer if you go by that. It is very clear. It has no purpose of these roads. These roads leads to the mining sites. Villagers were telling us, what is the purpose of this road? We are not going to use it. We need to go to the market. We have a very concrete, good road where you can, everybody can go. If we want to go to Rajasthan, this is the main road.
And illegally acquiring agricultural land for that road.
So basically CEC also found these roads were illegal. And interestingly, when CEC visited, apart from the forest department, none of the revenue and all, nobody, was present before the CEC meetings. So just imagine,
mostly CEC panels have to be accompanied by district administration officials.
Yeah. So basically, it is there in the report. They have suggested action against the district magistrate. By the way, I got a call from the police. So police called me saying,
I was going to ask you that, was there repercussion for you?
No, I got a call from police. So I sent a questionnaire to the SP as well, district SP. So SP office might have sent it to the local SHO. Then he called me, भाई साहब आपको तो complaint लिखाने यहाँ आना पड़ेगा. मैंने बोला complaint? मैंने तो आपसे response मांगा है. तो वो भी 2 मिनट रुका. उसके बाद बोला अच्छा हम करते हैं कुछ. मैंने बोला बोल लीजिए मैं लिख लेता हूँ. नहीं हम लिख के आपको बताएंगे. ऐसे बोल के they were गायब.
Oh my God.
And by the way, when I went reached the spot after the CC report, locals were telling भाई साहब अभी बहुत अफसर आ रहे हैं. मैंने बोला कौन आ रहा है, वो आ रहा है. मतलब after this CC report, they also DM and the other administrative officers were अभी तो पकड़े गए हैं, कुछ करना पड़ेगा. So they were visiting the area. They were in quite tension according some officials whom we cannot name. But one of the interesting thing is in this whole case, the forest department role was quite quite praised by the CEC as well. they have been trying to prevent these roads, but forest officials on the condition of
But
anonymity.
why didn't they escalate it to the higher authorities?
They did try. Even one forest official on the condition of anonymity told me, कि, they have tried to cut the road. Like there is a road cutting, the forest roads होते हैं ना, उनको cut करते हैं लोग, dig out करके. So they tried every time. And what they do is this mining mafias have all this kind of vehicles and machinery and everything. So if they cut it after 2 hours, they just rebuild it. It's kind of a challenge. Or forest officers were helpless because they were not getting any help from police and all. They even tried to lodge some FIRs. That also didn't take place. So CEC has recorded all this, things
in the
report. It's all there. So yeah, but forest officials, CEC also maintain that they have done quite a job. They tried at least to prevent this kind of illegality, but because of the collusion between the politician, of course, the government officials, as well as this mining mafia who actually funds this whole operation, it could continue.
But the Aravallis are very important for Delhi, not for Delhi, but
Definitely.
other states too. Because if I talk about only Delhi, then Aravallis are kind of barrier. It protects Delhi from desertification of the capital. Same time, it also protects it from the heat wave that comes from Rajasthan.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it's also
important for
groundwater
rain.
storage.
Yeah. Even I
It helps recharge the groundwater also.
Yeah, and the situation out there, everybody can recognize me there in a village. I'm an outsider. So people are also telling me, don't stay here for a long time. Just do your job and leave. Because there were people who I could sense, and somebody was telling me, you can see that guy who came by the motorcycle. He just came here to check you. Who is here in this area, no?
Right, Pratyush, be careful. Next time you go.
No, it's fine. No, what I was trying to tell you about the Aravallis is that, as you have rightly mentioned, how Aravallis needs to be protected because it's important in case for the environment, as well as the problem of water. Even rain also depends a lot on this Aravallis.
It recharges.
Yeah,
groundwater.
recharges. So what I found is very interesting. As at present the road has been cut by the Rajasthan government, so that no truck can ply. But if you have a two-wheeler, you can easily cross that cut and you can go to the other side. So I just decided, let's see what is it in the Rajasthan side, the mining spots, what is going on in those mining spots. And as I went there, it was all dusty road, and what is the situation of a mining area. And there are a lot of factories, lot of stone quarries out there. And at one point, even we have pictures here, you can see the water level of the pahars, these hills have been cut to the level you can see the water level. You can see this photo. There are a lot of Aravallis, you can easily say. Even CEC also mentioned that illegal mining is happening in these zones. So yeah, but nobody can help anything. Even one forest officer's quote I still remember. He said, I asked him you are in the government, basically you are the forest officials, right? Why can't you do anything even if police is not helping you or the administration is not helping you? Then he told me court is the only option for forest department. They can't do anything. They know. Even when I showed one official about, sir, see, this is this is how they are doing mining. Can they dig the hills up to this level, water level? Then he said, I have more pictures than you. But we can't do anything. Court is the only solution for us.
Now we move to the last segment of this podcast where we ask our guests recommendations. Ankita, what's your recommendation?
There's this very good report that the Reporters Collective just published, I think last week, on the death of this journalist from Bastar, Mahesh Chandrakar, and what happened in his life and why he was killed. It is because he was exposing corruption in a road in Chhattisgarh, and it's quite a heartbreaking read, but it is an excellent piece of reportage that the newsroom did. So yeah.
Newslaundry's Pratik Goyal has also written a very personal piece on Mahesh Chandrakar. I think people can also check it out. It was written, I think, when he was killed. I mean, days after he was killed. Pratyush, what's your recommendation?
Yeah, so I haven't been reading or watching anything very to be recommended this week. But I have this thing in my mind. Even I recommended this in our newsletter that we reporters write to our readers. So it is a documentary by People's Archive for Rural India, Padi, by Himanshu Chutia Soikia. So he's a documentary filmmaker, and you can say he's a lyricist from Assam. So he documented the elephant taming process in Assam, Moran community, by Moran community. Basically, the traditional Moran community Assam is engaged in animal taming activities. So the name of this documentary, it's a very wonderful documentary. Basically, it's very grounded, and it's related to the folklore. It is related to the traditional, how to tame, like how the Phandi, who tames an elephant is called Phandi, and how the Phandi makes its relation with the elephant, and all these things are there. So its name is An Elephant Never Forgets Its Phandi.
Phandi is the person who tames
the elephant.
Okay.
So, and interestingly, while in the documentary, you will listen one of the guy who tames elephant. Is a very famous one in Tinsukia district of Assam. So basically, he sings a folklore while taming that elephant. While taming that elephant, there is the song is like Holo Lolo. And if you are listening to Coke Studio over the last few weeks, then there is a very famous song named Holo Lolo. It is from Assam. It's sung by Sankuras Kumar. So the whole song, it has come from a folklore in Assam.
Sounds very interesting. That I want to see how elephants are tamed by that community in Assam.
Yeah, definitely you should watch it.
My recommendation usually I recommend articles written by our guests. So I would recommend all of you to read articles written by Ankita and Pratyush. Very interesting pieces, very good articles. With this podcast is adjourned.
Journalism at Newslaundry is powered by the public, because when the public pays, the public is served. Visit newslaundry.com/subscription and pick a payment plan of your choice. Pay to keep news free and independent. Your future, and indeed the future of democracy, depends on it.